Reinventing Project-Based Learning is written by Susie Boss and Jane Krause. This is their second edition. Now, what this book is about is a field guide to the real-world projects that are being conducted today. The digital age is among us, and as educators, we must keep up with the movement of technology. This book lets us into the lives of other educators around the world to see what it is that they are doing, project-wise, and what makes their approach so successful. Chapters 3, 4, and 5 deal with the beginning part of the designing your project phase. Chapter 3's title, Imagining the Possibilities, focus primarily on establishing the framework of a project. What's the big idea of the project? What concept do I want for my student to walk away with after they have completed this project? Good projects will allow for some connection between the student and the information they will discover. Their interests, experience, and overall understanding of their chosen topic will show through their project design. It is said that students who know that their projects will help out a community or city will be more invested. Through these projects, brainstorming and collaboration are vital parts to a positive project. Analyze, evaluate, and create. Now, to analyze means to examine or to investigate. To evaluate is to decide or verify. And to create, compose, or design. Now, these are the three terms a student must know and learn in order to help the student develop more skills and habits when learning through project-based learning. In this digital age, we must remain sharp with our technology fluency and computer literacy if we want to remain relevant in the 21st century of education. Chapter 4, Strategies for Discovery, deals with being selective when choosing a project's topic. Review other plans first before jumping into a project. They should be the correct size, not too busy and not too easy. Good projects focus on reaching positive milestones. The significant learning through the project will be noticeable, not just a slideshow with a few images and some information. Thematic teaching is taking a topic to the next level, for example. For example, a report on fish will incorporate not only information on a certain type of fish, but perhaps who the fishermen are in their area, and are they pets or food, the commerce, etc. I found it interesting that a whole school year and possibly can. I found it interesting that a whole school year could possibly be focused on one topic or theme. The chapter also discusses the importance of staying away from traditional thinking when beginning to design a project. Also, to not replicate a project, but instead create from it. The best projects are those that allow for freedom, ones that the students come up with. This will capture their interest, and in return, more time will be invested. When you have figured out your given plan, write a project sketch, and this is a short description of what your plans for your project are. Colleagues will then have the opportunity to give some feedback in order to help you out. Chapter 5, Making Assessment Meaningful. That starts off by making the statement that project-based learning is personalized learning. And I believe that this is true, and what is meant by this is that each team or individual will have their own twist on things, their own vision of how the project should be designed and directed, learning as they go. The problem with this, according to the author, is that the traditional grading system doesn't work well for this. So a rubric must be made in order to achieve the right score for the right project. The other way of grading is done by assessment. Assessment for learning, which has the instructor ever so present during the project design, who there to give advice and to check continuously for understanding as a project builds. Also to put the student back on track if need be. There's also assessment for learning. This is the grade is given at the end of the project on content and how well the presentation is. A test or rubric grading system is usually performed. This focuses primarily on what the students learn and not so much about how much they learned. It's more quality than quantity. Also, having an outsider in the field come to the class to evaluate the projects, this will be more attentive if the information they get comes from a real life person in the field and not just from the teacher's perspective. Now, my response to this book is it's a well written book. I highly recommend it for those teachers and educators. It has a lot of helpful tips, a lot of antidotes that will help you throughout your project design. Let's see, I individually went through each chapter and focused on what they had. So for the summary, chapter 3, learning from a textbook holds education back. You can only learn what is written in the text, and with PBL, the information is endless. The technology of today allows for further mind expansion by adding real-world issues to the projects. I feel that it makes learning about how the real world reacts a vital part of life and maturity. Learning comes from understanding. You know if you've learned something because your project will show it. Projects should be exciting. The goal is to not make the project too difficult in order for them to achieve some sort of success. As students get older, they can handle the tougher topics. Also, projects should always be meaningful to the student. Teachers can still teach their respective subjects, but now they can incorporate real life situations, and I believe this will bring about more collaboration, not only amongst their peers, but among the entire world. For most of these students are computer literate and possess skills needed for this digital age for all the subjects. Chapter 3 discussed getting started with your design by choosing a topic. In Chapter 4, they talked about researching various avenues related to your chosen topic, a selection and design portion, so to speak. And keep in mind that if you choose to use an existing project, make sure it's a good one. There are many out there, some better than others, so be picky. When thinking about your design, the projects need to be the, the correct size. Slideshows and small bits of information are a thing of the past. Students must lead themselves into the real world in order to make learning and understanding more interesting. If the original idea doesn't go anywhere, branch off into another direction and focus on something else related to the topic. That's why we keep these projects so loose in order to make changes as we go. In chapter 5, it dealt with grading the projects. It was a short chapter, but it did give lots of rubric examples, which is very helpful. I believe the rubrics are the best way to judge and grade these projects. Being so individualized, it would be tough using the older, more traditional grading system. Grading the projects or students a little bit at a time with the milestones will prove to work out best when dealing with how to grade these projects. It allows for the teacher to see where these students are and keep them on track in case they are veering off into a wrong direction. All in all, I like this book. It's a great book, and I highly recommend those individuals learning about education and project based learning to read this, and it will help them out immensely. Thank you, guys.